Speaking of DJ Premier, I remember the first time I heard this beat. I was a junior in high school. The first time I heard the Notorious Big Ready to Die album, and my head basically exploded. Like I say, DJ Premier, who we need to get on the show at some point to talk about hip-hop and talk about sports, definitely on the Mount Rushmore of all-time great producers in the genre. Speaking of unbelievable, it's unbelievable to protect your own personal information. You need to call my guys down at Second Eye IT Security for your home, business, or personal office information technology needs. These consummate professionals have 20 years of both private and government sector experience managing cloud systems, firewalls, virus removal, in addition to your laptop or PC repair needs. I personally use and endorse this product to protect my family's financial and private information from the cesspool of charlatans, hackers, and scam artists on the World Wide Web. For a free consultation, go to www.secondieitsecurity.com or call 1-800-320-8435. Tell them that Lanshay Radio sent you and receive a special discounted offer. So we want to bring in, as we're new to the Phoenix market, and like I've stated over and over and again, it's great to be on air here in Phoenix as we continue to expand our brand. We actually hoping to add a couple of affiliates to the show soon. We have some bangers coming in for interviews. I don't want to jinx it, but some strong hip-hop heads, I'm talking about nationally known multi-platinum artists, are going to be coming in to do the show, both in studio and via call-in. But I want to have my man, when I started this thing, one of the first people that was one of my earlier co-hosts is Jeremy Winston, who's in Dayton, Ohio. He has a podcast that's part of the Lanshay Radio Network, or kind of a defunct podcast that's part of the Lanshay Radio Network, called The Rubicon, where he talks about politics. So I like to have Jeremy on from time to time. We also have the Paragon Cup, which is my ripped-off version of the Jim Rome Smack-Off. Jeremy won the Paragon Cup going away last year. So he has a lot to say. So I want to bring Jeremy Winston, also known as Jeremy in Dayton, also known as Mr. Paragon Cup, also known as the Rubicon, to the Lanshay Radio Network. What's going on, Jeremy?
What's going on? Also known as the best guy, the best host, you the best guest you can have on the radio show.
I don't know. Ray is a really great co-host. She's not in the building tonight, but she's an excellent co-host. I will say that you are probably the funniest co-host that we have. So,
I'm the most consistent, the most sane, the most practical co-host you can have on here.
Definitely not the most humble. So we have a lot to talk about. We don't have a whole lot of time. We have a hard break coming up in about 8 minutes.
Let's go.
But before we get into the Cavs and get into, I know you want to gloat about the Sixers and the Eagles and the Fighting Vicehumans and all of that.
Yeah.
We've been arguing online back and forth about spades. Now, I don't know if most of the people that listen to this show play spades, but we've been arguing over which joker is the big joker. And I'm saying that it's unequivocally the spade, the joker that has the word guarantee on it. That has to be the big joker.
That is logic for numbskulls. That's logic for people who don't know how to read. I mean, the fact of the matter is the guarantee joker says on it, it is a guarantee if a manufacturing defect is found in this deck. That's what the guarantee means.
But don't you feel that it's a double entendre though? Because why didn't the manufacturer put it in fine print? Why did the manufacturer put?
I'm certain the people who made this deck don't even know what a double entendre means. The fact of the matter, they're covering themselves legally because they're selling you a product, and they say if there so happens that the two of diamonds isn't actually in the deck, that they guarantee that they'll give you a new deck.
So they're covering themselves legally. Somebody's going to sue. Somebody's going to sue the spades company, the card deck company, because the two of diamonds was flawed.
Yo, listen, Phoenix listeners, this is your host. This is your host who thinks that the people who made the deck of cards were thinking of only the game of spades when they made the deck of cards. You know how many games are played with this? Crazy Eights, bridge, poker. They're not thinking about, oh, shoot, for those people who play spades, we're going to write guarantee so they know which is a big joker, as if we're not smart enough to make a decision on our own. The fact of the matter is the guarantee has everything to do with guaranteeing that they will replace it if something is wrong. But you know what? When we say big joker, we mean literally the big joker. So for those listeners, just Google it. You don't even have to take a deck of cards out. Look at which one is physically the big joker. Take out a ruler. Take out whatever you want and measure which joker is bigger. That's what I'm saying.
You actually may. I'm a person that will admit when I'm wrong, even on air. It never dawned on me because I don't play anything other than spades with a deck of cards. So you might have a point. We will revisit this later. But I want to give you an opportunity for those that are listening, rather in Philly or listening out here in Phoenix. Jeremy lives in Ohio. Now, he's from Philadelphia, but he lives in Ohio. He has, there are a lot of people in this world that have self-hatred towards himself. And Jeremy really personifies one of those issues because he's more of an Ohioan than I am, but he hates the Cavs. He hates the Buckeyes. He spent more time in Ohio than I spent. His children were born in Ohio where I was not, but he continues to rip the Cavs. So curious of your thoughts of what you've seen with the Cavs, and they're playing right now as we speak. Indiana's mounting a comeback on them. What do you feel is going on?
This is a bit of a eulogy, I'll be honest with the Cavs, because the reality is that I was more of a LeBron fan than so many other Ohio people. When LeBron was in the Cavs for the first time, I didn't care about him. I was indifferent. He was just another good player to the league. When he went to Miami, I became a LeBron fan because so many people, not only in Ohio but around the country, hated on him. People burned his jersey, and I hated that. I felt like there's no reason to hate a player just for making a good business decision. So I was a fan of LeBron in Miami because he's one of the greatest players, and I still believe that. He came back to Ohio, and I hated him for it. I felt like you stay in Miami, you build a legacy, don't come back to Ohio just to appease your Homer fans. And so I've been hating on LeBron since, also because I felt like the city, the state of Ohio they didn't deserve a player like this because the way they burned the jerseys, the way they didn't rip Dan Gilbert in the front office for letting him go away the first time. They didn't understand how to really support a team and realize LeBron was making the best business decision. But the reality is he's 15 years in. Jordan in 15 years was playing for the Wizards. Remember how that ended up for Jordan. Listen, what we're seeing right now is that the players are skipping up and down the court past LeBron, and he's just tired. He's playing like an older player. And unfortunately, even if they squeak by the Indiana Pacers, which I doubt, I don't think they get by the Toronto Raptors. Not because LeBron isn't great, just because he's older. He's past his prime, and we have to catch up to that reality.
So you feel that he is past his prime?
Yeah, I feel he's past his prime. And you take LeBron off of that team, they're not even a playoff team. Take LeBron off of the off the Cavs, they're not even a playoff team. So the reality is, I think they're holding on by a thread and by a dream and by a memory. And they're going to play hard because they got LeBron on that squad. But the reality is, the fact that they're struggling so hard with the Pacers tells you everything that you need to know and everything everyone else needs to know. He's going to L.A. next year. Write it in the books.
So you think he's going? So that was my next question. We have about a minute and a half left. You kind of said you tipped your hand. I was going to ask you where you think he's going. Do you want for him to go to the Sixers if he had an opportunity to go there?
I do not want. We don't need LeBron because number one, we don't have the cap space. Let's shore up who we have. We have Embiid. We're about the future now. We have to really stop living in the past. Yes, LeBron is one of the greatest players to ever do it. I concede that. But we are now looking to the future. LeBron takes breaks on defense. He's more of looking at securing his stats and his legacy. We need to think about the next 5 years, where teams are really hoarding talent, and we need to make sure we're ready to compete.
30 seconds. Do the Sixers represent the Eastern Conference in the finals, yes or no?
Yes. Yes, I have nothing else to say. Yes, I don't. I think Toronto Raptors get tired out or knocked off early, and I think the Sixers represent the East.
All right.
I think they lose to Golden State, though.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Jeremy Winston, a.k.a. the Rubicon, will be back on the Lance J Radio Network, NBC Sports, with Oz and Boone from the Oz and Boone Show. We're going to have a very hilarious conversation and keep it moving. NBC Radio.